Hey everyone, Gavin here. Today I just wanted to make a quick video that will serve as sort of a compass for business owners interested in learning more about how voice AI might fit into their existing inbound and outbound systems. So I'm going to answer questions like, what even is a voice AI agent? What types of purposes do they serve? And most importantly, how do you know if your business is ready for an AI-powered voice assistant? As well as a few other ones. So this one's going to be jam-packed with helpful knowledge, so if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. And now, without further ado, let's dive in. So I really made this guide for those business owners out there who might be on the fence about voice AI agents or curious to learn more about exactly what they are and what they're capable of. This is the video for you. All right, so let's get started. All right, before we go any further and I start explaining use cases or anything like that, we need to understand and be on the same page about what a voice AI agent is. All right, because at the core, they represent a significant advancement in the way businesses interact with their customers. All right, it's really exciting stuff. So what exactly is a voice AI agent? It's a system that connects a large language model to the telecommunication infrastructure, enabling natural two-way voice interactions with users or callers. And they're also known as AI callers, AI voice assistants, or AI phone agents. And how they are built, I'll go more into details in a second, but traditionally they relied on speech-to-text and back to text-to-speech technologies, but now we're moving towards speech-to-speech models for more natural and latency-free interactions. So the core components of a voice agent. Well, first we have the speech-to-text, so taking the user's voice and converting that into text that an LLM can read. Then we have the LLM itself, which is sort of the brains of the operation, right? It reads the context and understands the intent, and it generates appropriate responses back to the user. Then there's the text-to-speech, so think about this as taking the LLM's outputs, the responses, and creating a voice from that, okay? And then, of course, we have the things that give our voice agents functionality and capabilities are the functions and automations powered by webhooks and API calls. And these can integrate with external systems like calendars for appointment scheduling, CRMs, and can do a whole ton of stuff. So here are a few examples of some of these specific platforms for these technologies. So for LLMs, of course, we have OpenAI, Anthropic, which is Claude, and then Llama 2 from Meta. We have no-code automation platforms like Make.com and Zapier, which allow you to build sophisticated and simple post-call automations to do a wide variety of things after your callers, and you can also create pre-call automations. And then we have voice AI platforms, so these sort of orchestrate all these technologies to create the voice agents. So we have Vappy, Retail. These are the popular ones that I like to use myself. 11 Labs, which is known for creating voices, but they're expanding into their own voice AI agents now. And even VoiceFlow, which was traditionally a conversational chatbot building platform. Now they have some basic chatbot functionalities, and you can even, there's ways to connect your VoiceFlow conversational chatbots with a Vappy voice caller. And of course, we have our telephony providers. So Twilio is probably the most well-known for that. DeepGram, which provides speech-to-text. There's also OpenAI's Whisper. 11 Labs does text-to-speech, so it has a wide variety of different voices people can choose from. And then most recently, we have speech-to-speech. We have the speech-to-speech model, which is the real-time API from OpenAI. And I wanted to show you guys a visual overview of all these technologies working together in concert. So if you look here, we have the Vappy orchestration layer, which is, taking all these technologies and creating the voice assistant. So we have the user input coming from the caller, and you use Whisper or DeepGram to convert that speech into text that can be read by the LLM. which is powered by, can be Anthropic, OpenAI are the most common. And then we have that text getting converted back into speech by something like 11 Labs or Cartesia, and that generates the output, which can be heard by the caller. Okay, and if we look at an example of what the real-time API is capable of, we would have a custom voice application built, okay, custom coded. Someone calls in, and then they engage with the real-time API, and this sends user audio directly to the LLM to interpret using magic. But seriously, we don't really know how this works, but it does. And then audio output is spit back to the real-time API and sent to the caller. So there's no text-to-speech or speech-to-text transcription going on with the OpenAI real-time API. And before we look into Vappy's functionality and understand why it's so nice to have something like this and what these platforms are really doing and allowing us, is if you take, for example, the real-time API, when you create a custom voice application for a business or for an application, if you don't have a dedicated tech team, or you don't hire a developer, or you are not super technical yourself, you're not going to be able to do this, right? It's prohibitive. But if you use a simple platform like Vappy, which has low to no code, you can build your own voice agents with a ton of different functionality yourself, okay? And using automations and telephony providers, you can do a ton of different things just with these platforms with your voice assistants. Before we go any further, let's stop for a second to think, why voice, okay? I thought Gen Z is too afraid to talk on the phone right now, right? I thought everyone's a shy guy. Everyone just wants to text. No one's talking on the phone. Are we leaving behind the era of calling on the phone? Well, to answer that, we have to follow the data, right? Which is what you should always do. So the first statistic I'd like to show you guys, and I'll link the description for these sources here, but is consumer preferences for business communication. And at the top of this list, you see that communication by phone is the most preferred method of communication for consumers, followed by email, in-person, live agent chat, and then chatbot down at the bottom. So here's a bunch of interesting call center statistics that I found. A few of the most important ones being, long wait times, the top reason why customers avoid calling businesses, okay? There's probably thousands, if not millions, of businesses out there who get so many calls that they have to put people on hold because they don't have enough staff, or they don't have a call center dedicated that can handle all the calls they receive. So Voice AI has solved this, really, because you can take voice agents, replicate them an infinite number of times, and then scale as high as you need to account for all the calls you have coming into your business, or all the calls you want to send out, right? And there's a growing trend of people using chatbots and self-service portals in 2022, but that doesn't mean that they've ditched voice. And the key stat here I want you guys to look at is 80% of customers expect faster responses from businesses. Okay, so that just goes back to long wait times. People, their attention spans are fried these days, right? They don't have time to wait. They're not going to wait. And for many businesses, like for example, in the legal niche, if someone's calling to speak to or get an appointment with a paralegal or a law firm, they might have a case that they need to be taken care of right away. So they're just going to go to the next person on the list if they can't get in contact with someone, or if they call after hours, right? And all you have is voicemail. So these are some things to think about. Another interesting group of statistics is for small to medium-sized businesses, their mix of contact channels. By far and away, the voice inbound was the most prevalent within these contact channels. And then we have outbound, email in second, live chat, social media, and then SMS. And one last interesting stat was 6.53% of callers have to repeat their reason for calling to multiple agents. And I just experienced this the other day, right? Calling bank support. You give your problem to one person, they transfer you off to the next person, and you have to repeat the whole thing again. And people don't really like doing this. So AI has also solved this problem because you can get a call transcript of what the conversation the AI had with the customer and send that to the next person in line that is handling that client, and have a summary ready to go so you know exactly the context of the previous conversation and you can just hit the ground running. So let's look at some use cases. First, I think for inbound callers, the most foundational use case is going to be preventing missed calls, because the statistics on missed calls are crazy. On average, 30% of all calls coming in businesses are missed. 34% of those calls are potential leads, and 33% of those potential leads convert to customers. So millions of dollars every year in the US alone are getting missed due to missed calls. Okay? This doesn't need to be happening anymore. AI has solved this. At the bare minimum, businesses can have an AI agent answering calls 24/7 and just answering questions, okay? Because a lot of the times people call in and it's these repeatable basic inquiries that are the same for most people, and the people have to employees are either answering these questions over and over again, or they're just not getting answered because it's after hours. The other massive use case for AI agents, appointment scheduling, and this can slot into a number of different niches and industries right off the bat, like medical healthcare services, doctors, dental clinics, physical therapy centers, chiropractors, all right, wellness and beauty, salons, spas, med spas, nail salons, beauty bars, all these things. You can easily have a voice agent set up to take calls and schedule appointments. Professional services like legal, law firms, right? Pre-screening people coming in, because especially if you are busy or a single lawyer practice, you don't really have time to get on a Zoom call with every person, especially if they're never were going to be a good fit for your business, right? If they're looking for family law, you do criminal law. That's a wasted 30 minutes, 15 minutes of your day. It throws you off. You want to be able to pre-screen these people, and your paralegal is already doing a million other things. You can have a voice agent that pre-screens people and tells them exactly what kind of law you practice and gets their basic info, so you know if they're even worth pursuing. Hospitality and travel, this is a huge one. Bed and breakfast, travel agencies, hotel booking departments, okay? Also another huge one, home and local services, landscaping, lawn care services, plumbers, electricians, HVAC, handymen, cleaning, maid services, okay? This is voice AI appointment schedulers bread and butter. Of course, we have 24/7 multilingual support. So think about travel and hospitality, right? International clients. If you have people calling in, especially if it's after hours, how are you going to engage with them and answer their questions if it's someone calling in Russian and someone calling in Spanish, then English, okay? You can build agents now that can speak in all these languages no matter what the customer speaks, okay, essentially. And then, of course, we have enhanced call routing. So like I said before, you could route calls to specific departments with context information and other features to really streamline the call routing process for a business. And then, of course, there's so many things you can do with the speech-to-text transcription. So with a voice AI caller, every call gets recorded, every call gets analyzed, and you could have another research agent being trained off the summaries and the call transcript to really fine-tune and iterate and optimize on a business's outbound or inbound or whatever's taking place, just with two agents talking back and forth to each other. So what are a few use cases for outbound callers? The biggest one is going to be business-to-business cold calling. So especially for these larger businesses that have massive lead lists, they can just call and call and call, and the AI agent can initiate calls to businesses and prospects to introduce products, services, solutions using a natural conversational tone of voice. And these voices and the latency is improving day by day. And it can qualify these leads based on initial responses, handle objections with pre-trained responses, right? You can train it on the exact sales script you want the AI agent to use, and use that to call other businesses to pitch them on your product. This allows businesses that might not have the resources or the employees, the staff to do this manually. It can be done now at a fraction of the cost with AI outbound agents. Proactive follow-up. So say a customer or prospect went to an event, they had a purchase, a webinar. You could immediately reach out to them and say, hey, did you enjoy this? Would you like a discount if you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And there's so many use cases just for follow-ups alone. It's crazy. Dead lead reactivation. This is another big one. So how many times, businesses, they put out a lead form, a lead, this could be on Facebook, wherever, someone fills it out, and then the caller reaches out to them 30 minutes late or something, right? Or doesn't reach out to them in enough time. That's a dead lead. All right. So to reactivate these dead leads, you can call with an incentive with a voice agent. Say, hey, if you want to, schedule an appointment, we'll do this, blah, 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 give you a discount, whatever. But these outbound agents can just keep calling and calling, and they don't sleep, right? They can keep calling and calling, and traditionally you would need a whole call center or a dedicated team to manage all these leads, and it would take days, weeks, months to go through an entire dead lead list. But now with AI, you can just have it go running on autopilot 24/7. Well, not 24/7, but 7 days a week. And then of course, appointment scheduling and reminders. So if you want to prevent no-shows, which is something that a lot of businesses want to prevent, you can just have an appointment scheduling and reminder outbound agent that you can have someone call 5 minutes before a meeting to remind them, hey, blah, 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 are you ready for your meeting, whatever. And appointments for, if you already have a client, you need them to send documents or whatever, you can use outbound agents for this. Now that you've seen some use cases, here's how you can pinpoint and ask yourself if your business is ready for an AI voice agent. And the first and most important one is, do we receive more calls than our current staff can handle efficiently? If yes, there's a good chance that, like this next question says, are our team members spending too much time on repetitive basic inquiries? There's a good chance that your staff are spending too much time on these basic inquiries, and if they're getting too many of these calls to handle, those basic inquiries, you can take those and give it to an AI to handle, okay? And that's like 60% of, at minimum, the calls right there handled, automated away. Are customers frequently placed on hold or waiting for long responses? Would providing support outside regular business hours help win or retain customers? So if you have people calling all the time after hours, you could have an AI answering those calls dynamically 24/7. As we scale, can we maintain customer quality customer service without proportionally increasing headcount? So I mentioned this before, but these AIs are going to allow smaller and medium-sized businesses with not as much leverage or resources to really expand their sphere of influence beyond what would normally be needed to increase their headcount and their employee size. They can, reach out to more leads, handle more customer service inquiries just using AI alone, which again costs a fraction of what a traditional person would, or hiring a new employee would cost. This is a big one. Are we missing out on lead follow-ups due to limited staff capacity? So that's like with the dead lead list or lead follow-ups. There's a ton of other things that need to be done. Follow-ups often get swept under the rug when things get busy. This is an AI agent's bread and butter. And then, of course, could automating portions of our calls lower our operating costs over time? So think about those basic inquiries. Could automating those lower operating costs over time? Would it make your business more efficient if those people answering all those inquiries are now doing other more important lever-moving tasks? Okay, so these are things you want to be thinking about. So, quick guide on how to start automating with Voice AI. Choose the right platform. I've done a video on this before, and I'm going to do more in the future of exactly picking the right platform to suit your needs. A quick guide for you is if you want to do outbound at scale, I would choose Vappy. If you want to build an inbound agent that can do things like schedule appointments, I would choose Retail because it has integrated with Cal.com features, makes it super easy to set up a simple appointment booking voice agent. To build the agent, you want to design the conversation flow, okay? Map out possible customer interactions and desired outcomes. Develop the prompts and pathways. Craft the prompts that guide the AI in handling various scenarios. This takes time and much testing. Use webhooks and APIs to give the assistant functionality and connect it with calendars, CRMs, and other tools and softwares. And of course, testing and launch. So you might want to simulate diverse conversations before you launch to identify and fix issues that will come up, and they will come up. And then maybe start with limited deployment and rollout to monitor performance and then slowly ramp it up. And then of course, continuous improvement. Okay, so most of the work is going to come from this testing phase and testing and iterating on the prompts. Okay, that's the big thing here. It's easy to hook up the APIs with the calendars and the CRMs, but getting the prompt perfect and tailored to your business, that's the hardest part. So final thoughts here. There's 3 things. Starting early. Those who adopt voice AI now are going to be staying ahead of the curve. It's that simple. If you think about it, where this technology is going to be a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, these voice agents are going to start getting very sophisticated very quickly. Okay? And you don't want to be one of those businesses that when you turn around in a year, 2 years from now, all your competitors have inbound voice agents that are scheduling all their appointments and dealing information and getting leads, while you're still stuck manually answering every phone call, right? You're going to get left in the dust. Choosing the right partner is big, so if you realize that building these might be too time consuming for yourself, consider working with an experienced agency like Hyperautomate AI, which is me, right? And of course, the biggest and most important one is continuous learning. Stay informed about the latest tech advancements to leverage new opportunities, okay? The world belongs to those who can spot trends early. Those people who stay updated with what's going on around them and what these rapidly improving technologies are capable of, especially with AI, okay? You know, I only just scratched the surface in this video, but just from these technologies and what I talked about alone, there's so much you can do, so much enhancement that could come to your business, okay? So always be learning, always be trying to stay informed, even if it's just a little bit here and there, because the world is moving very fast. And just in general, it's always important to adopt a continual learning mindset, okay? We're never going to have all the information in the world, so it's important to try our best to stay informed, especially in business, right? And on that note, on the topic of learning, I hope you guys learned something from this video, and I hope I could provide you with some valuable information and guidance. And if you did learn something new, please like and subscribe. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.